embraced Islam in 1926. He says, Islam appears to me like a perfect work of architecture. All its parts are harmoniously conceived to complement and support each other. Nothing is superfluous and nothing lacking, with the result of an absolute balance and solid composure. His present address is Dar al-Andalus, 3 Library Ramp, Gibraltar, Morocco. 2. Ahmed Holt, British civil contractor, travelled extensively in search of the divine truth, spent much time in research and comparative study of Judaism, Christianity and Islam, embraced Islam in 1975. He says, the sword of Islam is not the sword of steel. I know this by experience, because the sword of Islam struck deep into my own heart. It didn't bring death, but it brought a new life. It brought an awareness, and it brought an awakening as to who am I, and what am I, and for what I am here. His present address is 23 Welland Garden, Perryvale, Middlesex, postal code UB6 8SZ, UK. 3. Bogdan Kopansky, now Bogdan Adallah Kopansky, originally Polish, now American. He has a PhD in history and politics. He had a very interesting journey to Islam and faced severe hardships. He was imprisoned twice by the Polish communist regime in 1968 and again in 1981 to 1982. He embraced Islam in 1974. He says, when I was 12 years old, I rejected illogical and contradictory faith of church. 2 years later, in 1962, I was fascinated by the victorious struggle of the Algerian Muslim Mujahideen against French colonialism. It was the first arrow of Islam. In the high school and earliest days of my education in the university, I was a typical example of rebel generation of Reds. My way to the truth of Al-Quran was slow and unpaved. In 1974, I visited Turkey. I wrote my MA dissertation about Sultan and Caliph Suleiman Brunini's policy towards the Polish kingdom. There, I was hit by the most beautiful voice of mankind, the Azan, the call to prayer. My hair stood up. Unknown powerful forces led me to an old masjid in Istanbul. There, old smiling Turkish bearded men taught me wuzu, ablution. I confessed the tears, the shahada, and I prayed my first salah, Maghrib. I swept out the rubbish ideologies. The first time in my life, my mind was relaxed, and I felt pleasure in Allah's love in my heart. I was a Muslim. His present address, 3013 Harrell Drive, 203, Grand Prairie, Texas 75051, USA. 4. Bangat Akalam Adiyah, now Abdullah Adiyah, an Indian noted Tamil writer and journalist. He worked as a news editor for 17 years. He worked with 3 former chief ministers of Tamil Nadu. He received an award, the Big Gem of Arts, from the TN government, that's the Tamil Nadu government, in 1982, and he embraced Islam in 1987. He says, in Islam, I found suitable replies to nagging queries arising in my mind with regard to the theory of creation, the status of women, creation of the universe, etc. The life history of the Holy Prophet attracted me very much and made easy for me to compare with other world leaders and their philosophies. His present address is 1 Ashok Avenue, Rangarajapuram, Chodambaham, Madras, India. 5. Herbert Hobon, now Aman Hobon. He's a German diplomat, missionary and social worker, an intellectual who has been serving the German diplomatic mission in various parts of the world. He is presently working as the cultural attaché in the German embassy in Riyadh, and he embraced Islam in 1941. He says, I have lived under different systems of life and have had the opportunity of studying various ideologies, but have come to the conclusion none is as perfect as Islam. None of the systems has got a complete code of a noble life. Only Islam has it, and that is why good men embrace it. Islam is not theoretical, it is practical. It means complete submission to the will of God. His present address, Cultural Attaché, German Embassy, P.O. Box 8974, Riyadh 11492, Saudi Arabia. 6. Cat Stevens, now use of Islam. British, formerly Christian, he was a world-famous pop singer. He embraced Islam in 1973. He says, "It will be wrong to judge Islam in the light of the behavior of some bad Muslims who are always shown on the media. It is like judging a car as a bad one if the driver of the car is drunk and he bangs it into a wall. Islam guides all human beings in their daily lives, in its spiritual, mental and physical dimensions. But we must find the sources of these instructions, the Quran and the example of the Prophet. Then we can see the ideal of Islam." His present address is Chairman, Muslim Aid, 3 Furlong Road, London, N7 in England. 7. Margaret Marcus, now Maryam Jamila, American, formerly Jewish, essayist and journalist. She is the author of many books and she embraced Islam in 1962. She says, "The authority of Islamic morals and laws proceeds from Almighty God. Pleasure and happiness in Islam are both the natural byproducts of emotional satisfaction in one's duties conscientiously performed for the pleasure of God to achieve salvation. In Islam, duties are always stressed above rights. Only in Islam was my quest for absolute values satisfied. Only in Islam did I at last find all that was true, good, beautiful, and which gives meaning and direction to human life and death." Present address, Chair of Mr. Muhammad Yusuf Khan, Sant Nagar, Lahore, Pakistan. 8. Wilfred Hoffman, now Murad Hoffman. He has a PhD in law from Harvard. He is German, social scientist, and diplomat. He is presently the German ambassador in Algiers. He embraced Islam in 1980. He says, "For some time now, striving for more and more precision and brevity, I have tried to put on paper in a systematic way all philosophical truths which in my view can be ascertained beyond reasonable doubt. In the course of this effort it dawned on me that the typical attitude of an agnostic is not an intelligent one, that man simply cannot escape a decision to believe, that the createdness of what exists around us is obvious, that Islam undoubtedly finds itself in the greatest harmony with overall reality. Thus I realize, not without shock, that step by step, in spite of myself, and almost unconsciously, in feeling and thinking, I have grown into a Muslim. Only one last step remained to be taken, to formally my conversion. As of today, I am a Muslim. I have arrived." His present address is the Embassy of the Federal Republic of Germany, BP 664, Al-Jagheri, Algeria. 9. Cassius Clay, now Muhammad Ali Clay, American boxer who was 3 times the world heavyweight champion. He was formerly Christian and he embraced Islam in 1965. He says, "I have had many nice moments in my life, but the feelings I had while standing on Mount Arafat on the day of Hajj, the Muslims' pilgrimage, was the most unique. I felt exalted by the indescribable spiritual atmosphere there as over 1.5 million pilgrims invoked God to forgive them of their sins and bestow on them His choicest blessings.